You know, what I'm just saying, they made some pretty good stuff back in the
They did some really good stuff. It stands the test of time.
Oh, guess what, guys? Steve is back. This is Mr. Winchester, Model 70s, but only old ones. Old guys and old guns, right?
Old guys and old guns, yeah.
He's got something different this time. We're all done with his 300 H&H. It's safe and in the safe, but now he's got a new toy. What is this one, Steve?
Well, Ron, you know, I've got another Model 70, as you can see here. It's a 243, pre-64 Model 70. I haven't started rebuilding or refinishing or anything yet. I'm just in the testing stage.
Okay.
To make sure it's worth the effort. Learned my lesson on the 300 H&H.
And what year was it made?
It's 1956. It's chambered in Winchester, 243 Winchester.
Oh, that was that was just a year after it came out.
Right, 1955. That's correct. So it's got all the standard features of the pre-64 Model 70.
Yep.
And I bought the gun used, shopped for it for quite a while, and you know, it's like anything else, it's got its issues, but by and large, I'm pretty happy with the purchase.
You've shot it.
I have, and it shoots. It likes the Barnes bullets, but we're going to experiment with some different loads and some different powders and just see what happens. Just have some fun.
I see you have an old scope lying here. I'm assuming this was on it.
It was, Ron. It was. It's a Bosch & Lomb Belvar scope. It's a 2.5 to 8. Interesting thing about it is, you know, there are no turrets on the
turretless scope, guys. That's how they used to make them.
Yep.
All the adjustments are done on the mount.
Yep.
So I'm not sure exactly how this thing works, but it must have worked. How did they even get it on the rifle?
Well,
where does it sit?
The bases are about £1 a piece.
Oh, the bases aren't here. Okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
So anyway.
So you put this loophole on?
I did.
14 VX3i 4.5 to 14 by 50. Ooh, you're looking for some low light action.
Well, this was my daughter-in-law's, and she wanted one with an illuminated reticle in it. So I worked a deal with her, and I wound up with this scope, and I figured it would be perfect for a 243. You know, it's a little bit bigger scope than what I normally put on a hunting rifle, but but that's okay.
Hey, is this buttstock original with that?
Yeah.
I've never seen one that's silver like that.
Well, I think, honestly, Ron, I think that is that somebody buffed it.
Oh, you think that? Yeah, I can't imagine them.
It was all blued. It was blued to match. You know, and they went from the steel to aluminum and did, you know, a bunch of other stuff to lighten it up.
Well, boy, that hard steel butt plate's going to beat you up with that 243.
Well, compared to what we've been shooting, I'm not too sure that I'm worried about it. I do need to mention, though, that this has it is a featherweight version, so it has a 22-inch barrel on it, and which, in my experience, can affect velocity, you know, 75 to 100 feet per second.
Now, also, this is not a short action. This is a standard length action, right? Okay. They didn't come out with a short action that actually fit their short rounds until, oh golly, I've forgotten the year, but the first short action would have been, well, the first short action cartridge was a 308 Winchester. Right. And that came out in 52. This came out in 55, the 243, as a result of it. And if I remember right, Warren Page was the shootings and hunting editor for Field & Stream magazine. The Jack O'Connor carbon copy. Well, you can't carbon copy him.
That's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, no, but he was the Field Street version, doing the same sort of thing. But he was quite the wildcatter, and he started fooling around with this 308 right after it came out, necking it down. And he was playing around with it along with help from Fred Huntington, Huntington Dyes, one of the early dye manufacturers out in California. They together, I think, came up with this 243 by necking down the 308. And really all it was necked down. They didn't change the taper or anything else. Winchester came out with the actual round semi-spec in 55. So Page and Huntington would have been playing around with it in 53 and 4 probably. If I remember right, he called it the Page Pooper, of all things. And then he was also
fooling. How in the world did you do that?
I don't know. But he was also playing around with this 757 Mauser, and he necked that down to 243, and that became the 244 Remington. And
that's where that came from.
That one came out in the same year as this one. So Remington and Winchester knew what was going on, and they knew that Page is messing around with these things. Guess what he called the 244 version based on the 757? If I have it right, he called it the 244 Page Super Pooper. Because it was about 100 feet per second faster, just the same as the 240. And of course, then the 244 Remington eventually became the 6mm Remington because of that problem they had with the twist rate initially. What, have it 1 in 11 or 1 in 12 on the 6mm, thinking that it would just be used for varmints and coyotes and predators and that kind of thing, not deer. Whereas Winchester thought, this make a great little deer cartridge. So they made 1 in 10 twist. They were able to stabilize a 100-grain bullet. The 244 could only stabilize, in those days, a 90-grain bullet. Big deal, 10 grains, you know, but people thought, I'm getting the 243 because I want to hunt deer and I need a 100-grain bullet.
Well, obviously the cartridge caught on. I mean, you know, because even today it's still a real popular deer cartridge. And, you know, of course, you know people that have shot elk, and you may have yourself, but with the 243.
No, I haven't, but I know guys who have, and it's fairly effective if you put the right bullet in the right place, as per usual. But let's shoot this guy and see how well you can do with it. And then I got a little surprise I want to pull on you.
Okay.
After you do that, you want to get this out of the way. I'll put it in the box. And now you've got some hand loads here?
I do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with just what I sighted it in with, just for here, just to make sure, you know, that everything's copacetic with regard to these rounds that I had loaded and shot previously. So I've shot probably 10 or 12 of these particular ones. So this one should be zeroed for the rifle. So we're going to start with this.
Okay.
Then I'm going to move to 2 different powders.
So you're moving up?
Yeah. So doing letter testing with the different powders, same bullet, same case, same primer.
What's your bullet?
It's a Barnes TTSX. It's a 85 grain.
85 grain. Ooh,
or 80 grain. I'm sorry,
80 grain.
I started out trying to find 85, and all I could find was 80 grain. So for now, I'm just using 80 grain.
All right, I'll get the big lens on the target, and we'll record what you're doing. You got some ear protection there?
It's on its way.
Oh yeah, here's some. All right, folks. Grandpa Steve's having at it. Pretty good looking for a 60-year-old guy. You know, I really like a suppressor on the end of my hunting rifles because it knocks about 25 to 30 decibels of sound off and protects my hearing. But that's not enough. Some of these rifles will put out 140 to 175 decibels of sound, and that can really hurt. So I just love to have some muffs on to additionally protect my hearing. And I can even use these shell shocks when I'm hunting because they will amplify ambient sound by as much as 82 decibels, so I can hear the deer tiptoeing through the tulips. Protect your hearing because it's going to serve you throughout your life. Always wear hearing protection when you're shooting. All right, folks, Steve has fired once to see where he was on the paper. He was 2 inches to the left, so he adjusted. Should be dead center now. Gonna do one more shot to get a velocity on this one. What'd you get for velocity, partner?
3035.
3,035 feet per second. All right. Now he's gonna go up in probably 1 grain of powder. I'm not sure how much, but he's going to work his way up the scale now and see what kind of accuracy he gets, what sort of velocity.
Actually, what I'm doing, Ron, is I'm switching powders.
Okay, switching powders, no problem. I forgot to record the target on that one, but we'll do it now.
Can you see where the point of impact was?
Yeah, you jumped a whole 1.5 inches on the other side of it.
Oops.
How many clicks did you give it?
8.
8 should have been right. It might be within its natural grouping ability. Yeah, well, we're at least know we're vertically right on.
Okay.
All right, I think you can shoot that same target now. We know we've got 1.5 inches to the right and 2 inches, 1 3/4 inches to the left.
Okay, so the center target?
Yeah, center's still looking good. Ready. You're about a 1/4 inch away from your last shot. So you're a 1/2 inch high and 2 inches right. That one jumped an 1.25 inches to the left. So you're just on the right point of the diamond of the center bull.
So not a particularly good group then.
No, sir. Just a little over 1 inch group. That one really messed it up. Dropped 1 inch and went even a little bit further to the left. Probably 1/8 of an inch farther left, but dropped 1 inch.
That shot felt the best of all three of them. So powder, whatever, just doesn't like it.
Doesn't like it, or doesn't like you.
That's a whole different story. Okay.
Steve, have you noticed, now that you're not 14 years old anymore, have you noticed any challenges to shooting? Do you have any physical ailments and stuff that interfere with your shooting? Because I know a lot of us old guys get arthritis and some guys start shaking a little bit.
Well, I think, Ron, one of the biggest things for me personally, you know, is eyesight. Is, you know, like, you know, that old scope that we took off is serviceable. You know, it's old, but I was really having a hard time focusing on the crosshairs in the center. The higher magnification, different crosshair style, like the duplex reticle, really helps me being able to see.
Makes sense.
You know, there's a couple other physical issues, you know, like tremors in one hand and, you know, arthritis in my thumbs and stuff. And the hard part of it is that you start making these subconscious adjustments. And so, and it takes a while to make those adjustments and to be able to do it successfully. The problem is that I don't shoot every day. And so I have, you know, let's just say I shot a month ago and I come back and all of a sudden, you know, I can't feel my thumb on the stock. You know, it's just those nuisances, if you will, that make it harder. So as my advice to anybody that's not my age, younger, let's say, is to do this stuff while you can. Because, you know, we have a number of days that we're given and just enjoy it, though. That's the biggest thing. Is even if you start losing the physical faculties that you once had, the athletic ability, the dexterity, the hand-eye coordination, and those things start to drift away, you're not going to understand this till you get there, but you have this biological alarm clock that's ticking, and you go, I need to hurry up and enjoy what I can while I can, because, you know, you just don't know.
Yeah, I hear you, Steve, and I think that's absolutely right. I mean, I always thought we live backwards. You know, we should start off at our age with our knowledge and wisdom. If we could have matched that up with our bodies at 20, we'd have been something to reckon with.
Considering I was a complete idiot at 20. You know,
But that's another thing you don't realize until you're 70, how dumb you were when you were 20.
I really didn't have, my dad was a waterfowl hunter. And so the whole big game hunting thing started with me and my family. And it took a while to learn. You know, I read as much as I could read, back in the early 60s, we didn't have the internet, and we didn't have, we would get a magazine once a month, and, I'm a visual learner. And so, you just kind of adapt and overcome, if you will.
Good, adapt and overcome, I like that.
Well, this is still pretty hot, so.
Well,
do you want
so are you.
Take a break? So, yeah.
You're just a hot property out here.
Oh, boy.
Smoking them.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to sit around and let it cool for 15?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to do that, I want to take the opportunity to introduce you to the ringer I'm going to throw into this
You
mix.
do that.
Hang in there. I'm coming over there. I'm going to tell you about this stuff.
Okay.
Okay, guys. Here's the plan. Here's the plan. Steve is over here working with his beloved 20th century Model 70s just to show that, like him, they still work. Not as well as they probably used to, but they still work well enough to get a deer. But, Steve, what I want to show the folks is right back here. Hiding behind this tree is this little 243 of mine. And you've seen it before, remember it?
Oh yeah, I remember it, yeah.
And I think it's important because I think this rifle spawned this rifle. This, of course, is your famous controlled round feed, 3-position safety, Model 70. Well, look at this. Controlled round feed, got the same big spring, Mauser style leaf spring on it. Got the 3-position safety. It's just a scaled down version, really. It's the Kimber 84M short action. Now this one has a true short action, whereas yours has just been a little abbreviated in the magazine to take the short rounds. So this thing is scaled down to the cartridge, which is, I think, something that we learned over time. And that's because initially we had rifles like the 70, Remington had a 721 and a 722. They were the first ones to go to the short version. But when you think back to the Mauser days with the 757, 8x57 Mauser, 6.5 by 55 Swede, and all the old cartridges, they would just put them in whatever rifle action they had. They didn't really tweak around too much with the dimensions. So I think that's all sort of happened in the mid-20th century, that we went with true short actions. But what Serengeti did, and several other people, you know, I think kind of started with Mel Forbes with the Model 20, really scaling it down.
That was a light sucker.
Oh yeah. Well, what Mel did was he said, why do we keep the same size we had 100 years ago, essentially, like with the Mauser and stuff? Why don't we scale down to what the steels can stand these days? So he did all kinds of metallurgic testing and things and figured out that you could take a lot of excess weight off of these things, trim them down, and Kimber followed in his footsteps with this 84M, and this is just a super trim, lightweight little rifle and action, and yet it can withstand the same pressures as these bigger ones. So that's kind of what I'm going to do, is try to shoot this and see how it compares with what you've got. And you can shoot it as well and tell me what you think. Okay. Obviously it's lighter, it's going to recoil a little more. We'll see how it groups compared to yours. Oh, and I just happen to have a loophole scope on here too. Mine's a 3.5 to 10 by 40 VX3. You've got the VX3i, a modern version of it. So
it's essentially the same scope, you know.
Yeah. Now you're still pretty hot. You want me to do some shooting in between?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. I'll just go to the other target. Now, this barrel is fouled, I'm sure. Don't remember the last time I shot it, so these might not shoot all that well. In a previously fouled barrel, I was shooting traditional bullets in it. Cup and core, gilding metal jacketed bullets. Oh, this is exciting. I haven't shot a rifle in an hour, probably. 2 hours, maybe. Ooh, I like it, I like it. I gotta get that swivel stud out of there. Yeah, I'm gonna come down a little bit now. Slim little rifle. Doesn't like to be up as high as your big old monster. I'm gonna be crouched down here pretty soon. I have to lower my chair. There we go. Lock that baby in. Crank him up. Peak power. All right, I guess I'll go for the center of my right target. Got your ears on? Yep. Looks like it jumped to the left.
I can't see it.
It's getting hard. This time of day, it's hard to see on that.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, you missed everything. No, actually, you're about the same place as your last group, so you need to come back about 2 inches to the left. But go ahead and put your group in. You're actually on my paper. But that's okay. Let's go for your group. All right. Close to it. You maybe went 1/8 of an inch up. But you're just to the right of it, 1/2 inch. Put this one in the middle and you have your 1/2 inch grouper.
All right.
We hit.
Same hole.
Seriously.
Last shot, same hole as the first shot. Second one was only out 1/2 inch or so. You got yourself probably a 3/4 or slightly better group. What was your velocity?
3108.
Nice. I think you could shoot a deer with that.
Yeah, again, you know, I'd love to be up, you know, where your kimber is at 3,400, but I'm more concerned about the group and the bullet performance. And as long as that bullet, when it hits the target, is going at least 2,000 feet per second, I'm good.
Yeah, well, you're going to be there, no problem.
Yeah, I'm good. So, okay, so that's it for that load. Do you want to swap?
You want to cool again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got to let this cool off.
You're right there, about a 1/2 inch from the bullseye at about 2 o'clock, maybe 1:30. Oh my gosh, Steve, same hole.
Really?
I got to get me one of these antique rifles.
Ron, it's what I expect. You know, I know it sounds. I don't know. I don't know how it sounds, but that's after all the Model 70s I've got. That's what I expect from these things.
Put another one in there and really blow me over.
Okay.
Oh, poopy. You just opened it up to a 3-inch group.
No, I didn't.
You got about a 1/2 inch group there, my friend.
That's awesome.
Oh, I think you should quit while you're ahead.
I may.
Oh my gosh.
Save the powder.
Honestly, we're going to wrap this show up because this is ridiculous. I don't even want to compete against you anymore. Kind of happy. So my best group, it's pointing to it right there. Just a smidge over an inch, 1.03. But Steve happened to get this group. OMG. That thing tapes under a 1/2. It's 0.4 something.
That's correct.
With a 1956 rifle. Steve, look up here and smile.
I have every reason to smile.
No kidding. Good work, buddy. I don't know what to tell you guys except for I am embarrassed. I mean, this guy is way older than I am.
True.
And his rifle is definitely older than I am. This is 1950s.
56.
1950s.
Yeah, so I was 6.
This predates Elvis and the...
Yeah, I was 6 years old when this thing was made.
Oh my gosh, it predates Elvis. Jeez, when did Elvis start singing his hits in 57, I think?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, he might have started in 55. But he's about like the same age as the 243, but the 243 is still going.
Yep.
Wow, that is so impressive. Does this have that forward screw mount? No, they got away from that. See, they used to have another barrel screw here, right?
Yep.
Tighten it down. They got rid of that by then. It's just the usual ones now, but holy mackerel. So, standard factory barrel. I'm shooting a custom rifle with a custom barrel and all the rest of it. Now, I can get groups this good with it. I just have to find the right load and everything, right. And I've done it in the past. I just don't work with it that much. I'm playing around with too many other rifles, but it doesn't matter. This is what we're concerned with right here. And Steve, you've done it again. You've bought another old geezer rifle and you shoot like a youngster.
I'm really happy with it. You know, it's refreshing to find one that you don't have buyer's remorse,
yeah,
or buyer beware kind of stuff going on, you know.
300.
But it is fun when a plan comes together, and
you average 3180 on there. I think you could go hunting with that.
Yep.
85 grain TTSX bullet.
Yep.
80. Doing that
yeah,
velocity?
80 grain. Yeah.
80 grain. Whoa. That is impressive. Now we have to find some deer tags. That's the hard part. Where are we going to get deer tags? Hey, guys, I just want to, you got anything else you want to say before
I'm happy. I'm thrilled. And I appreciate the opportunity to do this with you.
Oh, I always have you. It's always fun to have you out here doing this stuff, Steve. And besides, you bring the most accurate rifles. So I think what the point is here, guys, is that technology today sounds wonderful, but come on. They weren't too far behind the curve back in the 1950s.
Right.
Which just happens to be where kind of our era too. So, you know, just saying, they made some pretty good stuff back in the
They did some really good stuff. It stands the test of time.
So don't be afraid to drag grandpa's or dad's or great-grandpa's old rifle out of the closet. Keep it running, because they quite often can't shoot. And Steve's experience here, the reason he has so many Model 70s of that vintage is because he always finds that they do shoot that well.
Right.
So
you just have to be patient, and you just have to use common sense and be patient, and just keep working at it, and all of a sudden it'll just click.
This one's sure clicking.
Yeah, I'm liking it a lot.
Right.
I'm liking it a lot.
All right, guys, you stay tuned. One of these days I'm going to get my 243 custom out here and tweak it with some hand loads to see if I can shoot as well as this old geezer does. I meant the rifle, not you, Steve. Until next time, you guys, hunt honest and shoot straight with an old rifle if you can find one.
You bet.